For more on the growing crisis at our southern border, let's bring in my guest, former acting DHS Secretary and Executive Director of the America First Policy Institute, Chad Wolf. Chad, welcome.
Thank you.
So the administration is asking for some $4 billion to address the border crisis. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think this is exactly the wrong thing that Congress should be doing. We don't have a money issue at the border, right? We have a policy issue. And the Biden administration is choosing not to implement policies that will secure that border and bring this crisis to an end. So it really doesn't matter how much money or resources that Congress gives the White House. If they're going to continue with this failed strategy, then simply Congress is just funding 2 more years of this failed approach. So unless some significant policy changes are tied to that funding, I believe that funding is just not going to make any difference because they're not going to change their strategy, and it's a failed strategy, and that's why we see the numbers increasing every single month.
The El Paso mayor is a Democrat declaring a state of emergency. Can you blame him? And does that get anybody's attention here on the Democratic side of the aisle?
It's likely not to get a lot of attention, but I think the mayor can't ignore reality anymore, right? This actually should have been done months and months ago. El Paso's been in a state of emergency. If you just look at the apprehensions in that sector alone, they have been at a state of emergency for months now. So I think what he was looking at is the end of Title 42 on Wednesday and saying, I can't not declare the state of emergency any longer. I can't face what's in front of me. And so I don't know that it's going to get a lot of attention back here in D.C. People are pretty, wedded to their position here. But I think what it's telling you is the folks that are on the front lines down there on the border are now saying, I've had enough. We're overwhelmed. And if these numbers and projections become true, where it goes from 8,000 a day to upwards to 10 or 12 or even 14,000, then cities like El Paso and McAllen and Del Rio are going to be overwhelmed beyond capacity.
For the view from the White House, let's play this clip from Karine Jean-Pierre, and I'll get you to react.
Okay.
What Americans should know is that the president has done the work to deal with what we're seeing at the border since day one, to fix the gutted system that has been around for some time, but certainly was gutted by the last administration. But what we're seeing is Republicans continue to move forward with political stunts. So the president has done the work.
The president has done the work. Do you buy that?
No, I don't buy that. And I don't think any reasonable American or anyone on Capitol Hill or anyone else buys that. I would just ask the question, what? Point to one thing that you've done over the last 23 months that has tried to end this crisis and make it better. I think what we do know is that they tore down a number of successful policies as they came into office 23 months ago. They've put nothing in its place. So we talk a lot about Title 42 ending, and yes, that is bad, but it's only bad in the context of this administration had 23 months to plan for this. They had 23 months to put together a number of plans and policies that would take Title 42's place. They've done none of that. And so it's bad, Title 42 is in it, but it's only bad because the Biden administration refuses to actually take an enforcement posture to send a signal to the cartels and the traffickers that, this is going to be a new sheriff in town. We're not going to have the same old policies as the last 23 months. But I think what we all know is that this is what they planned on since day one. And we're seeing that, unfortunately. We're probably going to continue to see that into 2023.
The New York City mayor is sounding the alarm. Let's play that.
This is a national problem. And the national government has a responsibility. We should not be paying for this, and we need help from Washington, D.C.
If Mayor Eric Adams is alarmed, what about border state governors and border city mayors?
Well, I think the mayor's right. This is a national problem. The national government, the federal government needs to do its job to bring this crisis to an end. If he's looking for additional resources to help New York, I would say get in line because the people along Texas and New Mexico, Arizona, and California have been on this for 23 months. And yes, you may see a couple of hundred in New York City. They see thousands every single day. So yes, the administration needs to step up, but resources alone are not going to solve this. Surging individuals to the border to process more and more migrants, building soft-sided facilities, none of that is solving the problem. It's just managing the problem. So the administration needs to get serious and put together policies that are going to solve this issue so you don't have the mayor of New York or Chicago or anyone else trying to deal with what should be the responsibility of the federal government.
Chad Wolf, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.